What's good, y'all? Welcome back to another video. It is Sunday, July 26, 2026. I hope whenever you're watching this video, you're having a great day and all is well. So let's get right into it. I'm going to do a overview and give out my prediction for what the market is likely to do next going into this new week. It is the last week of the month, so I do expect some volatility. I believe. And from what I've seen in my experience, the first week of the month and the last week of the month kind of sets the tone for like the overall month ahead. So we're about to end this week, so I expect some nice pushes. And we're starting on the monthly because, as you can see, it's the monthly time frame. So all of these candles represent 1 month. And we start on the monthly because I noticed on the last week, and of course everybody knows the first week of the month NFP is volatile, but I noticed the last week of the month on and especially a lot of times on those Fridays at like that last day of the month, we get some nice pushes in the market. So we will be anticipating some nice movement for this last week. So I'm here on the monthly chart and immediately the first level I do want to mark out is this monthly low. And I'm usually on the monthly chart probably twice out of the month. So at the beginning of the month, I'll look to see where we are. And then at the end of the month, I'll see where we are. Mark out certain levels I believe are important. But of course, you do not even need this. But I do absolutely recommend starting on the weekly time frame at least. So we have this fair value gap on a monthly time frame, and I do want to see these lows get hit. So we already knocked out last month's low. So this is last month's low. Let's see. Let me, so we're trading in between last month's low and this, and what month this is? This is June, so May, the low of May. So let's see. And this will be 50%. So halfway mark. So key notable levels already. These are 3 levels. I probably don't keep it on here, but I'm just doing like an overview and see like to see where we are, how we trading, what we're gonna do. If we could get a closure below this, so this now we're on a weekly time frame. So this was a weekly fair value gap, and we're definitely below the midpoint of that. So that is very notable. That's very notable to me, that midpoint. And we're trading below it. We had a strong close. So this was a weekly and monthly low. So a significant low, as you can see. And you see how we got rejections. So we had a nice rejection once we crossed it the first time. We had a nice rejection once we crossed it the first time. So let's see how we react once we get a closure. I would like to see a closure below this low on this fair value gap. And if we do get a closure, like ideally, especially a daily closure for sure. If we get that, I would like to see these weekly lows get hit. And of course, ultimately, this monthly low, May's monthly low. So let's go down. So now let's go down to the daily. Last week, if you watched my video last week, I talked about this fair value gap right here. It was being respected, and we had this 50%, and we're trading in a premium price range. So to see price go lower. So now we have a new week. So we made new lows. Now this is what I'm marking out. And of course, you don't need all of these levels. It's just really just a top-down analysis of how I personally will go through it. So now we got this daily fair value gap outline, and I always include the volume imbalance with the daily fair value gap. So we need to be mindful of any kind of reversal in this area. We don't have to trade into this immediately. We might open the week and we start dropping quickly. So it's important to be mindful of that. Also, this is all just speculations, but these levels, these monthly levels are very interesting to me, especially that the fact that we're about to end this month. So it's really important to be mindful of these monthly levels in the beginning of the month and at the end of the month. So 4 hour, let's see what we got on the 4 hour. Depending on how we open, we do have this fair value gap on the 4 hour time frame. If we reach into here, this would definitely be a point of interest for me here, this fair value gap. I'm not gonna mark it on this chart, but I need you to see it though. I'll mark it. Why not? Why not? So this week really just about being patient, honestly. So we got our midpoint, this gap. So between these levels, this is the range that I like for this week. We don't have to make do it all in 1 week, but I am highly interested in these levels. So if we start getting like 4 hour closures, like these high time frame level closures, I will be pretty excited. Of course, all speculation, of course. So let's move on to same thing for another thing I did want to make note of. So on the weekly time frame, right? Everything is fractal. We are in a premium right now. So we could even potentially see us trade all the way back down to this 50%. But we don't need to jump the gun and overly predict the market because on ES, it's 50% is way down here. And I told you sometimes one pair might reach and the other pair starts to reverse. So with that being said, I would be interested in these lows on ES. So these are weekly lows. That is a weekly low. Let's see where it is relative to the monthly. So this will be last month's low. So you see, NQ already took out its last month low. So like I mentioned, this fair value gap, we also have fair value gap here. I would be very interested in this fair value gap to be traded into, this monthly fair value gap to be traded into. And we have this long wick. Let's see where we close on this wick. So we touched that 50% last week. So if we get a closure below this 50%, that would be very interesting to see if we could start reaching down into these monthly levels afterwards. But we also have a fair value gap here on a daily. So notable things to look out for. Look at it from a weekly time frame, yeah, weekly perspective. So I am interested to see these lows get swept. I want to see us have some type of closure below. I would love to see us have a closure below this 50% because we just tapped it and then we rejected. So it's important to make note of that. We tapped it and rejected it. So now let's see how we start trading at the start of the week and move on from there. So let's go to some other pairs. Oil have higher prices. Let's go down to the daily. Let's go down to the daily for this. So I do see this fair value gap. If we trade into it, let's see how we trade into it and potentially take out these highs. And I'm always just looking for the next pull. So like the next closest thing. I'm not trying to overly predict the market too far ahead. I show those monthly levels, but I'm really showing them, anticipating them to get hit relatively soon. I'm not thinking a month ahead. I'm actually waiting for those levels to get hit relatively soon, and I want to see how we trade around those levels. So these highs are very interesting to me. I want to see if these highs can get traded into. If we trade into this fair value gap, that would be a nice point of interest. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just telling you what I see. That's all. So let's see. Let's go to gold. A lot of price action on gold. So with gold, we rejected off from this weekly fair value gap. So this is a weekly gap. We rejected that gap nicely. Then we have this. Excuse me. We have this fair value gap here. And let's see. I want to see an inversion if we're gonna head lower. So if we are to head lower and take out these lows here, I want to see us close below on a daily at least. And if we're intraday, let's say we're intraday trading, 4 hour closure for sure. That's what I would like to see. And we're also, it seems as though we're respecting this 4 hour fair value gap. So if we happen to start trading above this 4 hour and above this daily, because this will be above the midpoint of the 4 hour this daily. So if we start trading above that, then I'll look for these this intermediate swing point here, or these back to these highs. But honestly, I'm looking to see for these lows to be taken out this week. You know, so that's it really. I don't know if I ran through this too quickly or not, but you can slow down the video, rewatch the video if need be. But that's all. So we looked at gold, NQ, ES, and oil. So let's just see what the market has for us and how we are trading going into this new week. And I hope everyone has a good week and a profitable week. And until next time, love.